How's it going? I'm Ryan, and today I'm going to go over the three trades that I took on NQ. My first two trades were stopped out at essentially break even, small gains on those. My third and final trade was a nice win that put me just over the amount that I needed to pass my two challenge accounts. So you can see my Apex account here, sitting at over 3,000 profit. This one's about 33 or 3,200, so went a little over on that one. But we'll go over the trades I took today, why I took them, kind of what I was looking for today, and yeah, let's take a look at some of these zones I was watching because I don't have a lot, so I'll just cover these two, even though only one came into play today. So basically, what I was looking at is some of these high volume nodes that we had from previous price action to get a gauge of where liquidity would be, where price would want to be, in areas where we might see continuation. So we had this consolidation up here that led to a pretty big sell-off. That was a high volume node up here, so that was a serious resistance from like 18,600 up to 18,700. A laugh because these zones are really big. This volatility has been pretty extreme. Um, so that's another thing. My trade looks tiny, but it ended up being over 40 points. So it's a funny kind of perspective to have when things are moving hundreds of points. But regardless, we had this zone up here is about 100 points. Usually my zones are like 30, 40 points, so things are kind of magnified by a lot. Then we had this zone, and this was from the pre-market. And I looked at this zone of consolidation where we kind of broke lower, then reclaimed it, tried to push higher, and then rejected off this same point. And so price action really kind of overlapped with this high volume. If I take this away, I think you can kind of see that bump in volume that we had as compared to kind of this valley and then this drop off here. So if I extend that a little bit and there we go. So basically what I was watching is this is a super wide zone as well, right? This is like 200 point zone from 1850 to 18250, 270. So I was looking for rejections at the top, bounces at the bottom, or if we could break to the up or the down side of this zone, I wanted to see us return and test and continue. So that's what my third trade was, my best trade of the day. Um, Another thing to note is we have been in a downtrend, right? We've been selling off the past couple days, have been pretty bloody. We pull up this hourly chart, we've been trending down the past week, this whole week. So that plays into it, as well as we have the VWAP and we're well below the VWAP, so things are all kind of leaning bearish. The first trade I took, funny enough though, was a long position at the bottom of this zone. So let's take a look, and I'll kind of clarify why I took the trades that I did as well. And that's because I was just a few hundred away from, I was about 500, 450 to be exact, 450 today to be away from passing my challenge accounts. So I knew that if trading with a 5 contract size position, I only needed about 45, 50 points total to pass these accounts. So that's really what I was shooting for. Is I was okay with taking some scalps if I could, if it meant passing my account without having to like risk holding for a 60, 70 point move, and with the volatility, 50 points is a scalp, crazy enough. So let's take a look. My first trade was a long here. So we open up kind of right in the middle of the zone. We come up, we reject kind of near the top of it. We start pulling back towards the bottom, and we have increasing volume as we come down and form a hammer. I entered long somewhere around 1870. So I got a pretty good entry. My stop loss was just below this candle wick and below the zone. So I had about a 30, about a 20, a little over 20, high 20s, low 30 point stop loss. My target was the top of this candle, and it was just because it was about 50 points exactly. I got in, 70. The high of this was like 25. So I must have got in around 75. That's right. I got in somewhere around like 75, targeting this. It was a 50 point move. That's really it. We came up and just barely missed my take profit. So my take profit was up around like 125. I think we missed it by less than a point. So at this point, when we were getting really close to hitting my take profit, I brought my stop loss at break even. Following, we closed down lower and hit my stop loss, and that was a $50 gain after contract fees. So it was up, pretty small amount after coming within 1 point of passing my account. So that was my first trade of the day. My second trade of the day was a short here, so you can see it. Reason being, we had yesterday's value area low right in this area. You can see kind of some of the price action happening as we bounced off it twice, rejected off of it once, two, three times in the pre-market, and then started to hold it as support as well right before market opened. We broke below and then we were coming up to retest it. And so I was watching price action on the 5-minute. I waited for this 5-minute to come up and test it. It closed lower. I also want to show on this, showing the point of control for these individual candles. You see that point of control is really high up in that wick for that 5-minute. So it was pretty much at the high of the wick, letting me know that we tried to push up. There's a ton of volume up here that consequently pushed price down. And then if I'm looking at price action, you can see that, on the 1-minute, we're looking weak as well. That volume is dropping as we're approaching this level. We're getting longer wicks to the upside. So a lot of things, we're looking like a potential pullback. And like I said, at this point, I need like 40 points. I don't need much. We're swinging, if we look at from like this low, say 810 to up here 150, right? That's 140 points in just a few minutes, like 4 minutes. So I need 40 points. I know that if I can just scalp a quick move, I pass these accounts and I'm on my way. So I entered short here. I got a really good entry, I think around like 150 or so. I placed my stop above these wicks, and as we started to push down, once again, we were just a few points away. So my entry was 150. I think my take profit was like 110, somewhere like right here. And you can see we got just like a point or two away from hitting it. Once again, once we got that close though, I dropped my stop loss to break even because I didn't want to get stopped out for a loss, and when I'm just trying to catch a quick scalp. So same thing, we push up and it stopped me off for a small gain right here, and it was I think $40 after contract fees. So at this point I was up about $90 off these two break-even trades, right? And you can see this move that came up and stopped me out for break even eventually did sell off, and would have been a pretty nice move to the downside. From there, I was patient. I knew that these two scalps didn't really work, and I was just trying to be patient. The volatility is pretty crazy, so we're swinging hundreds of points in a pretty short amount of time, and so I was patient and kind of waited for something that I wanted, which was a break out of this range, this zone that we were in. We got a break below it. A few things happened here that made me like this trade. The reason is that we got a close lower, so we broke the daily low, we closed lower, and then we came up to retest this zone that we were previously holding as support, and then we got some weak price action as we did so. So break lower, the volume on the move up isn't that impressive. In fact, it starts dropping off as we approach this zone. We see us wicking into this zone and failing to close higher. Test it once, twice, 3 times. I entered on this candle, and I just targeted about 40 points. I wasn't targeting this low, which would have been a nice trade as we came down and hit that, which was almost a 100-point move. But I got a really good entry. It was 47, so 847. I entered right here, and yeah, took it down just for 40 points. Nothing crazy. I just wanted to pass my account, so I guess it was like 43 points or something. But regardless, we ended up the day about $509, passing both accounts. Risk management was on point today. Pretty much both trades, although my first 2 initial trades, both were stopped out at essentially break even. Both missed my profit target by 2 points. I think was the biggest one. The other one was like 1 point. The first trade was missed by 1 point. The second trade was missed by 2 or 3 points. So that's going to happen sometimes, and I think bringing my stop loss to break even, once it gets that close to my take profit, I don't mind that. Now normally without this volatility, I would probably be trailing my stop loss a little bit more so that it didn't swing such a wide, 50 points in profit back down to 5 or whatever. I think I would like to at least capture maybe half of that, like 30, 25 points, if it's gonna come back up and stop me out. But it minimized the downside. So both of my first two trades, my take profit missed by just a super minuscule amount, and then my actual original stop loss would have been hit on both of these. Like I said, my first stop loss was below this candle. We came down, that would have stopped me out. Second stop loss was above these candle wicks. We pumped up, it would have stopped me out. So 2 losses that I avoided, and instead ended up with a nice winning day because I managed my risk a little bit. So I think I'm playing things a little bit better, a little bit smarter, slower, and happy to start next week on these PAs. Last 2 PAs I got, my first day I was down like over $1,000 per account. So that was an absolutely horrendous way to start a new account. And even if my first day is a losing day, having risk management will prevent me from losing that much. I won't allow it. So that's where we're at. Happy to pass these accounts and be on the next phase and be continuing the hunt for our payout. Also, last thing I should say, on this candle as well, we had that point of control shifting up. So you see point of control shift down on this little bounce. As we come up and start to reject off this zone, that point of control shifts right up near that zone. That paired with 5 minute and 1 minute price action volume gave me the confidence that we were probably going to reject from here. Placed my stop loss above those wicks, I should say that as well. So I entered here, stop loss above this wick. If it came up and continued, would have stopped me out. And then as soon as we came down, I brought it to break even, left my take profit, it hit my take profit. Simple as that. That's all I got. I appreciate you watching. I do stream live Monday through Friday, so I'll continue retrading. Like I said, upgrading, I'm going to fund these accounts. Not fund them, but I'm going to activate them into PAs. And we'll get going on that. It'll be fun. Hope you have a great day. Peace.